Hi everyone, this is Mohammad Hamid Khan, and today I'm back with another interesting podcast on semantic SEO. As you guys probably know me, I'm in SEO industry since 2015. I'm creating some content on semantic SEO and topical authority, and you guys probably watching my videos on YouTube, following on LinkedIn. But today I am with Olesia, and you guys know Olesia, and she's in the SEO industry. It's been, I guess, more than 12 years, and now she's helping clients achieving their organic growth numbers and KPIs. And she's a dedicated SEO expert and has specialties in multiple disciplines like knowledge graphs, semantic SEO, and very other things. Probably Alicia will explain herself in her own words. So Alicia, over to you. Just explain yourself, what you do, uh, how you're approaching SEO, and what stuff you love to do.
I'm doing all kinds of things actually, not that I'm concentrated on something one. Um, Usually I find something very interesting when I just do some very basic thing and I start digging into it, and then I discover the whole treasure grove of new concepts that I have never known. Each time when I think that I've already known quite a lot about SEO, I discover something totally new which I have never heard of before, and it's always like a whole new world which you need to devote lots of times to learn about. So I do concentrate and focus my efforts on technical SEO mostly. I regard semantic SEO to be part of the technical SEO. I don't make it different from on page or something like that, because I think that it's all blended. You cannot separate technical SEO from on page SEO. You can somewhat do that with the off page SEO, like backlinks or something like that. But again, if you are an SEO, you need to learn everything and you need to know everything. And semantic SEO is also part of it, is dependent on the backlinks and mentions in other resources. If you want to have a stable knowledge panel, if you want to be a credible part of Google's knowledge graph, you need mentions in authoritative and trusted resources, so that you have to do the off-page thing again. Sometimes you may not need the website to have a knowledge panel, but you need to have these backlinks and mentions in other resources to do that. So it's all connected, interconnected, and yeah. So I do everything
Amazing.
actually, but to the benefit. But I always what I always like to do is concentrate on your business goals. So it's not that what you are doing, but why you are doing that. And when you have this goal, you then choose among all the instruments and all your knowledge that you already have to reach that goal.
Amazing. So I've seen Alicia, by the way, creating some content or some podcast stuff on different, I guess, hosts, YouTube channels like Duda and some with some SEMrush, I guess, if I'm not wrong. And she recently interviewed Koray as well. So that really caught
Yeah.
my attention, and I've watched the whole series. If there are more, I guess, not just one, right?
Yeah, I think I've interviewed Koray 3 times, maybe four. Um, and I always enjoy these conversations a lot, and I hope the audience enjoy them as well. I always try to make him shine, and also
Okay.
he's got many complex concepts, but I always try to um, help him deliver his message in a way that is more comprehensive to general audience, so that everyone gets value from that, and he gets value from that as well, because when you explain something to people who strive to understand you, you get to know what you are talking about better and better, and it works both ways, I think. And for me as well, because I get connected to this wonderful person and his following and all other wonderful people around him, like you.
Thank you. For me, Koray is a machine, and I mean he's a engineer. I mean he think from that perspective first, from machine's perspective, then connect everything back to the user. How the user will then convert. So I like his that kind of approach, and I've seen people confused his methodologies by just saying that he has like introduced new terminologies, like I mean, just by replacing the words, and the application or the actual practical approach or process is just the same. But this is what I've already I mean cleared in my videos and explained very well, that there's a lot of difference between traditional and semantic SEO. And basically I've shown some practical examples as well, like for example creating topical map, and by one of my briefs video, how to create a semantic content brief based on Koray's framework, is also I'm working on that. It's like 3 hours I've recorded the video, and I'm just like 50% through the brief, and it would maybe take some more time. So the thing is, I mean, for this actually podcast for audience, actually I'm telling that the purpose of this is not a very, I mean, planned or conventional podcast to maybe we're gonna go through, but it's like sharing our experiences and expertise, how we think that you should do semantic SEO, and why there is a need of semantic SEO, because mostly people are, I mean, still confused. So we're gonna cover, I mean, multiple facets, and we're gonna see how they can benefit you, your website, your ultimately grow your business. So this is gonna be very, I mean, a conversation from both perspective and experiences. And definitely, we're going to start with questions, right, Alicia?
Okay, no problem. And I'd love to learn about your approach as well. So I think we do pretty much similar things, but we do them from different sides, from different angles. So it will be interesting to learn how that combines. So
Mhm.
what's your stance?
Absolutely. This was the idea. Yeah, this was the idea. And I think this is, I mean, we're gonna like, it's not like a very typical thing, I mean, on semantic SEO podcast, but we're gonna make it a very masterclass as well, and lot of unique concepts that you cannot find easily like on YouTube or any other, like for example. So we're gonna start it like very from the basic level question, then we're gonna go deep in a specific concept. Okay, so first question first. I mean, for new beginners, for new people, just I would like your views on what semantic SEO is. I mean, and why we need it. So we can maybe set some foundation in the start, and maybe set some objective, then discuss deep things, deep concepts, and connect everything back to our objective.
I think that semantic SEO is just one of the concepts that many described in different ways. My favorite definition is the one of Bill Slawski. I just don't remember it exactly, but I think that he also considered semantic SEO being a part of technical SEO, and where you deliver your message and in a way that is both perceivable by bots and by humans, and in that way. What do you think about semantic SEO?
Okay, first of all, I mean, you very you summarized very into very short lines, so appreciate that. For me, semantic SEO is, I mean, simply it's a process that combines multiple that combines terminology from multiple facets like Google patterns, linguistics, and some other like conversion perspective as well, coming from your source content, and from multiple facets or dimensions. It combining, and it's a like whole process of creating, producing, or you can say publishing a semantic content network on your website, with the goal to achieve a topical authority state. And when it comes to topical authority state, the need is simple: to decrease the cost of the machine while serving more relevant and accurate information. This is how I summarize semantic SEO in a very, like like for example, if I'm explaining to 5-year-old child, I would use this definition. And the objective is very clear for here. Objective for machine, I mean, for Google, if we forget Google as a search engine, like for example, Google is, you can say, is a more ads focused company, is a earning through ads. So if we think from that perspective, cost is the biggest challenge of the machine. And cost, for example, on crawling, on information retrieval, on lot of steps. So how basically our goal is to make information responsive, connecting with the queries users are searching in a specific knowledge domain, knowledge bases, etc., etc. And that's why we need semantic SEO, which is a complete process. And further we create like topical maps, briefs, and a lot of other stuff, just with one goal: to help Google understand our website in a faster and cheaper way while serving more relevant and accurate information, so Google can serve its user in a more quicker and better way.
Yeah, I can add up to that the business goal is usually to get some I don't know. For example, you've got an e-commerce website, and in an e-commerce website, you've got products, which are entities actually. And as a part of semantic SEO, you want to describe the entities with all their attributes, with all their properties and all their relations, and cluster them into categories. So Google understands the parent-child category, what belongs to where, and exactly what kind of problems do these products solve. So yes, in this part of things, they want to understand and attribute these products to particular users' needs. And they have this shopping tab as well. So yeah, in a way, semantic SEO is just the proper describing of your topic and your entity in a way that is helpful to your user, and in a way that will be findable through the search engines such as Google or Bing or whatever new search engines emerge. And maybe you will need to do that in mind with ChatGPT and other AI bots. Already we are doing that. But I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't think that AI bots do understand semantics because, but that's kind of questionable. Maybe.
You, by AI bots, you mean GPTs like ChatGPT, Bard, Gemini, something like that?
Yeah, yeah, because they don't do actual information retrieval. They are just statistic. They are large language models and all these kind of things.
Yeah.
So they don't retrieve the information in a way that, for example, standard search engine does. And in this way, semantic SEO with them um, is kind of maybe limited of what you can do and how you approach optimizing for them.
Okay. Great point, by the way. One thing you did add, like the source context. I mean, the business model, which is a very important factor in. Definitely, it is an important factor because I've seen people. I mean, they're just doing things from machine's perspective. Like every time they're making things more sensible for the machine by using relevance methodologies, how Google calculates relevancy, by making text more responsive. But they're forgetting that ultimately there would be a user that will read the content, and that user needs have to convert, not the machine or bot. So this is a very important thing. I mean, you connects everything. I mean, there's a big knowledge basis in Google. When Google has like organized its data, na? You probably know that. So in different knowledge bases, health, finance, motorbikes, and home gadgets, for example. So there's like million trillions of maybe EAVs, you can say triples. And what you do basically, you cannot simply cover anything, everything on your website. What you pick is basically that is more relevant with your source context, how you're earning money, your main purpose of the business, your brand identity. And then within your content, which we call microsemantics, you mold, or you actually tune your content according to how you want users to read and then take action further. It's not just about making machines helping machines understand your content, but also making the content helpful for users, plus making them convert in the next step, which is kind of involving some marketing psychologies, understanding psychographics, demographics of the users, doing some comparative analysis, also some heat map analysis like Hotjar. So basically, this is the other side of semantic SEO that people mostly forget.
Yeah, and another downside to that, actually, people, especially those who only begin doing like topical maps and optimizing for topics as well, they um, like, for example, say you have the e-commerce website and where you are selling sofas. Does it mean that you have to write about the history of furniture? Do you really want to attract that audience that wants to read about the history of furniture? Does it have anything to do with your business, despite sofas being and like a part of a larger topic of furniture. And I'm seeing lots of people optimizing for the things and ranking for the things that actually don't mean anything to their business, and they don't convert. They just spend resources on that, and they are not ranking for them for the keywords or for queries that they actually need to be ranking for, but they are attracting a huge traffic about all kinds of unrelated things, despite it being a type of their topic, but those people will never buy a sofa from them. So
Yeah.
that you should be doing, like, I think that, like, when you are only a trainee, when you are only starting, of course you don't really understand all these concepts, and it's pretty hard to understand what you should be writing about, what kind of content should be there on your website. So sometimes you do make these mistakes. We are all humans, we are not machines, thankfully.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
however, like, if you try to focus on your business goal, it becomes a much easier task for you to create a topical map as well, because you always know, do you need to write about this thing or not? Where is it in your funnel? When you know your audience, what exactly you are trying to achieve, and what pain points of that audience you are trying to solve, and what exactly you are expecting from them, it's much easier to create all those things that you need to write about.
Mhm. Okay, amazing, amazing stuff. So, I mean, in semantic SEO, there's the one concept which is knowledge graph. I mean, what are your thoughts on knowledge graph and how someone can optimize his source or website for knowledge graph?
Actually, not all people want to optimize for knowledge graph, because in that scenario, under that scenario, it's almost the same as you are optimizing for ChatGPT. You are feeding them information that they won't refer to you, so that
Mhm.
you are basically creating free content for either for chat or for knowledge graph, which will not be attributed to you. So you need to think twice about what kind of topic you want to create. In a way, as for knowledge graph and as for the charts, you want to integrate your product as much as possible into whatever you write for them, so that when they suggest people how to solve their problems, they will refer or mention your product or your solution or your service or your name if you're optimizing for personal brand or something like that, so that your efforts don't go in vain. Right now, you cannot, there is no mechanism to protect your copyright against chatbots or other extractors from stealing your knowledge. So before you create lots of content on some specific topics, think how you integrate your product or your service or whatever into that top into that content, so that your efforts are not wasted when you don't get any link from that. But otherwise, if you want to optimize for Google Knowledge Graph, it's built on entities and their relationships. So the best way to do that is to describe and disambiguate unambiguously the entity you want to insert into Google's knowledge graph, or to add it with the attributes that you can influence with your services, so that it becomes a part of Google's knowledge graph. And by doing that, just yes, you get it there, and you get into these suggestions,
Mhm.
answer boxes, different boxes, features, and into the panels and all other kinds of stuff,
Mhm.
just
Amazing.
by
So,
describing
hmm,
unambiguously the entity, just as simple as that. I know how it sounds, but yes, it is.
exactly. Okay, one there's one more problem basically. I mean, actually there are a lot of problem, but this problem I've seen very frequently. I mean, people who are like just new to semantic SEO. I mean, they think that it's like about stuffing entities on the page or just like getting list from the competitors or maybe their anagrams, just put them into the page, probably without, I mean, focusing on the context or meanings and just stuff the entities and they think that they're doing semantic SEO. What are your views on this and how you what you suggest them or how you say or you can differ the semantic SEO with traditional SEO?
Yeah, I don't differ. I think that at this part of time, search engines do use semantics a lot. for retrieving and for serving us the results. So that, yeah, of course, sometimes they still use this phrase-based searches, and they may produce the results based on the exact phrase you are looking for, especially in the
Yeah,
local search. So local search is quite different from the global search and international
correct.
search. And in those under those circumstances, yes, the semantic essay is sometimes not something that you can utilize properly, because you can see that from Kyle Roof maybe experiments, maybe you've heard of them, with lorem
Yeah,
when
he is
the
the algorithm
extractors,
side.
they don't read content at all, and it happens almost all the time in the local SEO. And under those circumstances, what kind of semantic SEO we're talking about? No, we just stuff the page with the phrases and words that extractors pick up, and then just show this page for them. But for more competitive and global searches, you need, yes, to utilize more techniques for that. And I forgot what we started talking about. So sorry. However,
Traditional versus semantic
I
approaches.
don't
Yeah.
think we should start with entities or with words or something like that, um, because if we're talking about semantic SEO, if you start with entities, Google search, not Google search, but Google extractors and Google bots that evaluate the page content, they get confused. What is the page about? If you want to do that semantically right, you devote one page or one piece of content to one entity or to one aspect of one entity, or you compare different entities on that page, but then it's a bit different approach, so that like you can use more entities on the page, but you just don't define the page as devoted to some particular entity or to some particular entities. And if you do describe the entity, it should be only one on the page. You can specify its relationships to other entities, but just don't overdo that, because you'll get the search engine confused. And yeah, as you've mentioned, and as Koray mentions a lot, the cost of retrieval is very
Mm.
important. And the cost of analyzing your page for Google is pretty high. And they only do that when you get into top 20 results. And they do it once. And if you fail to, I don't know, to prove to them that they did it right with you, so that they picked you a right place to devote their resources to you. So if
Mm.
you don't show them relevant, good content, you'll have to wait such an enormous long time before they give you another chance. So you get the chance once, and if you fail to meet their expectations, you can get thrown out of the search results, from top search results. You will be ranking them top 30, top 40, but it might take a pretty long time before they want to trust you again.
Mm.
And if they give you another chance and you fail again, well, it's
Then
sometimes easier.
we are
It's
nightmare.
sometimes easier to start a new website, really. So just
Yeah, yeah. It's like very hard to even get some attention of the machine if you are starting new, and once you got attention and you got into negative ranking state of, like, for example, topical authority, you're gonna maybe Google put you maybe for 6 months, 1 year more time. I mean, until it got um gonna maybe give more attention to your website, because, like, if you're creating another page on your website, for probably it's a very good page for you, but for Google it's like another thousands or trillions page, another page. So Google has to decide basically on multiple factors. I mean, Google probably use its predictive ranking by, I mean, and by associating quality thresholds for a certain website against a certain type of query network, and then Google decide basically, and a lot of other factors as well. So I really liked your answer. It's a very detailed, and I like your approach, by the way. For me, I guess one thing that needs to be addressed here when it comes to semantic SEO, I mean, and when it comes to specifically the entities relationship, like, why we need to create that kind of relationships in the first place. I mean, that's the main question someone maybe might be asking. So when we think from machine perspective, the model which is being used, which is EAV, the triple, semantic triple, we normally say, entity attribute value. So I would say, for example, Google has like clustered it data into different knowledge bases, and there might be like you can say in, for example, in one knowledge base there might be like trillions of triple, in another there might be another number of triples based on how the relationships are there. And from one knowledge base to another knowledge base there might be a connection, and that connection mainly also connecting through triple, and that we also say contextual domain. I mean, the context is basically connecting two different types of entities. So basically what you do in your content, you focus, apart from entities, you focus on triples as one terminology which is macro context. I've basically learned from Koray, and probably it's coming from Google patents. Macro context is basically defined or is set for each section, for each page, or for even each website, and for example and sometimes for each knowledge base as well. Like, what are the macro contexts are there? I mean, what are the important things that user need to consider or need to know? Then there are some additional things as well, related activities, search activity, for example. Those are like micro context. So when it comes to your macro context, there might be some EAV, triple, some attributes, some important entities you need to use with their values, and definitely unique values, and some values as well, like coming from the fact, which is fact you cannot, I mean, change the fact. So I mean, you create this type of methodology, EAVs, and in your page, so Google can totally relate your EAVs with its knowledge base, and then connect the EAVs, the triples, the relationships you have created with the search queries someone is searching for. So this is how I think should be the top level approach while optimizing a page for ranking.
Yeah, I agree, but I just don't know some concepts like context or macro context.
Micro,
But I
macro,
think that
micro.
yeah, it does not operate all the vocabulary because in your group you've got it somewhat different from what I used to. But as I listen to you and as I listen to Koray, I've got nothing contradictory with what I actually think, and I think that some of these concepts have synonyms and like more general concepts. So
Okay, let me explain the purpose. Macro context is basically, for example, if your topic is uh, health benefits of coffee, for example, and you are like discussing 15 health benefits on your page, on your document, until the 15 benefits ends, till the 15 benefits from top to maybe middle of the content, probably or 70% of the page, you are addressing macro context. And after the macro context, maybe if you're starting discussing how much coffee you should drink a day, the related search activities, I mean, which are not necessary at all, but yes, might be good for users and might be relevant for you to create connections or links in terms of context and links with other pages on your website covering the same types of entity, central entity. Okay, so macro context is basically which is the main topic or main theme you want to address on your page. For example, 15 health benefits of coffee. This is simply, we say, macro context.
okay, yeah, makes sense. Thank you. I think you're doing a very great job of explaining these complex notions, so to speak.
Yeah, I'll, I've improved my teaching skills a lot. By the way, I'm not coming from a teaching background, but since I have to learn, you can see the whiteboard behind me, and there's a couple more whiteboard in my house, in my office as well. So in the start, like I was like totally bamboozled and confused, and like for the 6 to 7 months, I on a daily basis I had to create relationships and then maybe read stuff again and again. Then see, okay, now this time I'm reading. It's making more sense than the previous one. And sometimes I read there is a lot of ambiguity as well. I mean, since you haven't read all the case studies or the data, for example, Corey written or Bill Slasky, champion of semantic SEO, late. So
Yeah.
when you're reading those things, I mean, you cannot say that what you are getting, maybe that is what that author is trying to say. So you have to read them again, and every time maybe you are getting a new concept, contradictory probably with your first one. So that's, I guess, this not specifically related to semantic SEO. I mean, if people are thinking that semantic SEO is very tough. Yes, it is tough, but for any other discipline, I mean, you can maybe adopt the same basically learning style, and it's always good to help others to learn what you have learned from your personal approach and experience, and that's what we are doing. And I hope you guys are enjoying. And one more thing, if you guys have any question, I mean, maybe at the end, because we have to cover a lot more things as well. Some perspectives related to AI. I mean, how AI can help, and more as well. You can maybe drop them in the comment. We'll maybe answer later, or maybe we can do some another session. And if your response is good, definitely. So okay, so let's move to another question. I mean, this time I would be asking about AI. I think AI has like lot of like you can say when it launched probably in uh, November last year, I guess, 2022. ChatGPT launched when probably yes, I
Uh,
guess 2022 November.
Uh,
Yeah,
I do remember even GPT-2, so it was long before 2022. And we had
okay.
AI back in 70s, I think, also. So it's been a really, really long time ago. I think it takes waves. So right now it's another hype wave that we're experiencing because
Hmm.
um, we've had some dramatic, like big improvements with
Hmm.
large language models. But if you remember, there are like lots of concepts appeared in 1930s, and people thought that by the time which we are living right now, we'll be already driving the cars in the air, will be on Mars and everywhere. So it didn't happen yet. So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
overestimate the power of AI, despite it's improved significantly, of course. But it's another
yeah.
wave. There have been waves before that, and there will be waves after that, I think. I think that the waves are mostly created by companies that want to attract investors. These AI development, large language models, they require lots of compute, they require lots of energy, they require lots of big computers and resources. And the people who are doing that, they want to attract money to that, they want to attract investment. So they are overhyping that in a way. And
Hmm.
I think that we should be like more sober to estimate what it really is, and stay away from the hype a bit, because it's not like it's not us who are attracting this money, so why would we help them?
Uh,
They're still in
actually,
our content, so we don't
mhm.
get anything from that at the moment.
Okay, so I mean, do not recommend using AI. I mean, if you want to establish a brand identity, or you have a like long-term vision, for example, so you should not, I mean, take risks kind of these and try AI content with some, obviously with some human help. There are a lot of gaps. I mean, people creating their own GPTs with set of rules they train first, then they improve their output. First of all, it takes a lot of time. For example, if you are like training your GPT, and every piece you have to like uh, do 50 types of revision stuff like that. So why you are doing that? I mean, just stick to the basics and improve content based on your experience, first hand experience, which is the EEAT. And why you are like relying on solely on ChatGPT in terms of that it should give you everything. But like the maybe the sentence structure, probably it from my personal experience, I've encountered or experienced that if you are like facing difficulty in making a sentence more readable or user friendly, even probably you give to ChatGPT, hey, and you write the prompt that, hey, this is the sentence, can you make it like more easy to understand without deleting the context and while ordering the sentence, and this is what I want to convey. For example, this is the question, and create an answer according to, or you can say revise this answer based on this type of question. So yeah, it does help you by improving your sentence structure, improving the flow of the readability of the content, like we see in Hemingway, by the way, right? readability and some hard sentences, very hard sentences, for example. Okay, so this way you can maybe get help from ChatGPT, but not like generating the whole content and then figuring out where you need edits based on your human experiences. So that would be tough, I guess.
I do create templates that not necessarily GPT, but some language models do fill in. So you create them with brackets. It's similar in a way to how you created spin content before this new AI hype. And
Mhm.
then they do generate like when you do programmatic SEO on templates, you basically have a template. So in those cases, they do generate all the content and it ranks fine, and I have not experienced any problems with that. It all depends on your template and on how you create a prompt, and if you create a prompt or how you just generate this kind of thing. And of course, the piece of content that you're generating should not be long, and your template should be detailed enough, and of course some human revisions are necessary. And, I just, but otherwise I don't see any problems with creating. I don't usually ask GPT or someone to improve what I have written, because usually they don't improve anything, they make it worse. I mean, even if you try to fine tune ChatGPT, I never succeeded in that. You can fine tune anything except for ChatGPT. You cannot fine tune the chat itself. So you have to use the GPT-4 or GPT
Hmm.
4.5 Turbo, and outside of this chat environment, because chat is not like a, it's it's the worst I have seen. But otherwise, you can fine tune. You can fine tune Llama. I like fine tuning Llama much more, because it's cheaper, and
It's cheap,
lots of cheaper.
cheaper.
Llama
Okay,
is
llama. You
yeah,
said.
yeah. You just only need you don't pay as much for fine tune. Like, I think that GPT 4.5 is one of the most expensive for fine tuning. So
Mhm.
I don't usually use it, and I've got very good results with Llama at the moment. So why? So it's just. Oh, by the way, if you want some to try something for free, you can use Hugging Face environment. They have it, so you can. Yeah, the models, they are kind of smaller, weaker, and the actual
Mhm.
fine tuning is not as if you are doing that on your machine and on your server. But however, you can start and see there. You can create some experiments and see where it goes before you start anything bigger. And also,
Mhm.
they do give you a few models that you can test actually, and
Mhm.
choose whichever suits you better, because GPT is kind of expensive. And also, if you try to use Google Cloud, they do provide also some fine-tuning experiences. They are slightly cheaper, but they are
Mhm.
so buggy. It used to be, I don't know, maybe they've improved, because they said they improved slightly, so
Mhm.
differently. They announced that, I think, on Google Next, which was a week ago, yeah, or 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
So they might have improved, but before it was super buggy. So you started fine tuning there, and you got the results that you could not use, so to say.
Okay. Okay. Amazing. So, I mean, out of these large language models, for example, you mentioned Llama. Like, which use cases we can use Llama for? For example, writing content or creating brief. Which use case you specifically use Llama for?
It's for fine tuning. So you've got this language model, but then you want to apply it to your topic. Yeah, we are talking about semantic SEO. You want to apply it to your topic. Of course, when you use some large language model, it doesn't have all the information that you might need. It doesn't have
Mhm.
this even sentiment that you need to create your own content to generate whatever you have. You don't generate content out of the blue. You need to feed the information to the machine before it gives something back to you. So you create your own database, and you
Mhm.
feed it and you train the fine tune the it's much easier not to create your own model but to fine tune the existing model on the content that you have, and you can use it afterwards in a way that is much more suitable to you compared to generic answers from ChatGPT. They are
Mm.
much more authentic, so to say. So I think in the future, how the search can be built is, and we are moving, I think, in that direction. There will be some kind of feed or API or something like that where we feed Google or whatever search engine is out there with our JSON files or some other database files. I don't think it will be
Mhm.
SQL, but anything. So we feed with that, and then they use some language model to generate answers to people's queries
Mm.
based on that feed that we are feeding to Google, so that we don't really maybe even will need a website to rank. We'll be
Yeah,
doing that. So we will have these APIs or pieces of concentrated information. I don't know how to name it. And we'll just, maybe some of us won't even have a website anymore.
amazing. So you explained it very well, by the way. For someone new who would like to test these large language models, AI models, for example, we're gonna maybe definitely try these tools you mentioned. But I mean, one use case, I mean, I can say that for someone like trying to test first, I mean, like you probably like I've like been doing affiliate. I've like managed and sold websites like more than 10 websites in affiliate, and I've tested AI content and the results was good, but they suddenly drop. For example, I got like to 20,000 clicks even like for a month as well. I mean, and then probably after probably I didn't follow the same momentum. This could be the reason as well, or the AI tool actually. But the purpose of saying is if you are like new or you're like trying to do some tests, then you should go for these large language models and maybe optimize your process. And the main goal is to just to save your time and improve the quality as well, right? So for an established site, if it's getting traffic, you shouldn't, I mean, try these. But yes, you can maybe use templated approach, maybe optimize your workflows. So that's what I suggest basically from my personal experience, and it's worth trying these tools, I guess. So Alicia, by the way, which other tools you use on a daily basis, or you can say are very important, like for example for different purposes, you can say like for doing content research, for improving the content tone, and or other checks like SEO practices, and like for auditing. I mean, which are the like top tools you are using, and maybe someone who's looking for the same use case probably can use that tool as well.
I don't use tools, third-party tools. I do use my code in Python. I'm creating Python codes for myself, and sometimes I'm sharing them to the public, by the way, so that like a few pieces,
You know
but
Python
so
as
few
well?
people actually, huh? So few people actually use them. I've released a BERT tokenizer, for example, and I've released, for example, there is a common problem when you are linking internal links when you are linking to different pages with the same anchor. And especially that's a problem when the anchor is commercial and you want your product page to rank for this anchor, but you are, because sometimes it's not only, you are not the only one who is working with the website. Yes, you've got developers, you've got content managers, you've got writers, you've got wherever, and everyone is making some changes to that content, and they never care about the anchors they are making when they're inserting internal links and so forth. So I've created, for example, the code which you runs through your websites and finds when you
Mhm.
have the similar or same anchors, or but the pages are different, and you can use that one. It's on GitHub, and I just create the codes when I need that, and that's all. I use
Amazing.
I
I
use
mean,
I use
yeah.
Google Cloud a lot, and their terminal and their SDK is on my computer, and so I just create the code myself and run whatever I need with that code. It's so easy right now.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, so that's, I guess, a good strategy to create everything yourself, the recipes in Python and Google Cloud. It's been amazing, and and mainly I'm also shifting towards these. Like we are building a tool. I mean, that's mainly we have created our own NLP, custom NLP, and the data we're getting from Google Cloud. Then we are using basically supersets alternative to Google Looker Studio. I mean, it's a very like open source platform. I mean,
Mhm.
what we are doing, we are creating all in one a dashboard. Just it's like uh, update your data as well automatically, and getting data from, for example, Search Console using big queries, GA4, the CRM data as well, and it's like accumulating the data. And also we have built some integrations in the form of APIs, for example, getting sitemaps of the competitors crawled, then extract relevant information from those sitemaps, for example, ngrams through their titles, ngrams through their, for example, specific uh, H1s, H2s, H3s, based on our requirement, and some topic modeling as well, topic generation as well, and some more analysis. And we are actually now creating a writing editor where the writer is going to write content, and it will basically not like a very I mean, yes, kind of surface you in terms of the suggestion it gives, but the suggestion will be very advanced. Like it will tell us, hey, you are using the wrong synonym here. Not wrong, I mean, not just based on that, it based on the data we have trained, or uh, based on the set of rules we have provided. It will tell us like which writing rules we have feed the tool on. Are we using the right rules? And it will basically recommend us that you should use this rule. And some more conversion focus, it will help us, or you can give suggestion like, after this paragraph you can maybe write this line for that specific feature, and some more for readability perspective as well. And this is what we are like in the future we are creating. And I think you love basically the process when you create yourself, not, I mean, relying on other tools, because uh, one tool is not like, for example, everything. So what about if you create your stuff uh, based on multiple APIs and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's what I actually do, but I don't usually create tools um, in the common sense of. I'd love if someone created a good tool for that. I use lots of Google's tools as well, so they have these learning resources and Vertex AI, and I use Google's NLP API. It's not NLP.
Yeah.
How do they call that? ML something. I don't remember the correct name. So, but I do use some of their tools or
Mhm.
APIs, such as I use their Vision API for the knowledge graph, and like yeah, different things. SDK, and for I use their web entities extractor, and like it's a few other things from them as well, because like they're doing that for themselves. And I also use when talking about vectors, I use the scalable nearest neighbor so approach, because they said that they use it for their ranking and
Mhm.
understanding. So I do just also use that. If they use that for ranking, it's good enough for me to use for my content as well.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, so one couple of more questions, then we'll move it like concluding. So,
Okay.
okay. I mean, when it comes to topic research, I mean, in semantic SEO, we say it a topical map. Like we pick a central entity that, I mean, you shared a post on it as well, like the 5 components of topical map: central entity, source context, center search intent, core section, outer section. I've read your post, and probably from Koray's one of the Koray's maybe presentation. So okay, so we say like topical map, I mean, in semantic SEO, and the purpose is simple: to create a holistic plan of the content while using your, I mean, using your brain and thinking from Google's perspective. your business perspective and some linguistic perspective, like lexical relations, and creating a holistic plan of the content, and then publishing on your website with some prioritization, momentum, and then attributes, filtration criteria, popularity, attribute prominency, attribute relevancy, and etc, etc. How do you approach the content plan, or simply the topic generation for content publishing?
I always start with the database. I don't. I know Koray prefers vectors. I prefer entities. So I start with the database of
Okay.
entities, and that are powered by the business goal. I have a business goal, for example. We need to sell this amount of products for this price. We have this kind of audience who will buy them. Who are this audience? I always have the portrait
Mhm.
of the audience, and what are the features of this product and why people would buy them, what kind of pain points does it solve for these buyers, or service. It may be not just products, it can be services, it can be anything else. And I build the funnel. So at the bottom of the funnel we have the conversion page where people convert, and
Mhm.
it has more commercial impact and all this kind. And farther from the bottom of the funnel we have more informational content where you might need to educate your potential clients on what they need to buy or to help them make this decision. You might have comparison pages with other products or with other solutions to them, and so on and so forth. And based on that, you already have a very extensive topic list of content that you need to build, and also some related content pages. I don't place unrelated stuff on the website. I do that on the third party websites. So some things are not closely related to what I need, but they can be helpful. And people might discover it
Mhm.
somewhere, but not on my website. So these are good for backlinks, actually, aforementioned. So for social media or for forums right now, everyone is trying to spam forums, and I do that as well. So uh,
Mhm. Yeah.
when you are working with a product in this way with business goal in mind and with audience in mind and everything like that, you get such an extensive topical map that you
Mhm.
probably don't need to go any further. After you create all this content, you might think that you will need to create more, but usually not, because you are already ranking quite well, and the only problem that you have is to keep it updated, because it's not a problem to create content, it's a problem to keep it updated and in a way that it works. So sometimes you do create it, some pages are ranking fine, some pages are not, and then you get into understanding why it's happening and what you need to do to improve your overall performance. You don't want to create uh, lots of content and rank only one page. Yeah, you want everything to rank fine, and you want
Okay.
people to find you. And sometimes you don't always optimize for the organic search as it is. You want to optimize for discover, for example. You want to show up in people's news feeds and
Mhm.
everything. And this all requires different approaches and different optimization techniques. And that's how I do that. So I start with the person who will be buying in mind.
Nice, nice. Yeah, uh, nicely summarized. And I would also would like to add a point, but before that, I would like to add charger to my laptop. Could you give me a second? I will add
Yeah, of
charger.
course.
Thank you. Okay, sorry. Actually, from my point of view, what I would like to add here, yeah, it's always nice what you mentioned. I mean, getting data based on, like, first you set some objective, what you really want, which is exactly how you want to monetize your audience, monetize your traffic. Then you connect everything further with it, and uh, I I would say there are like uh, 20 plus strategies, for example, to do topic research based on your that changing based on your objectives. Like for in semantic SEO, first of all, one objective could be to uh, get some historical data, like classifying yourself with authoritative sources like health time, like even some, I mean big sites that are authority on a specific niche. So that's for that you actually cover broad topics in simple words, or you cover the prominent entities of your central entity, or the important definition of your entity, just to classify yourself with authoritative sources. And you go vast, you go wide. I mean, you don't go deep in a specific attribute. For example, types of, for example, uh, like laptop, for example, you go laptop types, laptop benefits, laptop colors, laptop model, laptop history, manufacturer, brands, companies, location, etc. I mean, you go vast, but when you go vast, it means you are covering the topic from top level, and you want to classify yourself with the authoritative sources. But when you go deep in one specific attribute like types, which means that attribute probably related with your source context, with your business model, and you want business first. So this is the main, I mean, the border you first set, then you actually start creating topical map. And one of the slides of the Koray, I've read that there are like 20 plus methods of creating a topical map. And I was like shocked that even one method is like hard to digest, or you can say apply it and get results. Ultimately a long journey basically there is. So, and things, I mean, from theoretical perspective, when they go to practical, I mean, 90% of things gonna change basically. So that was a like big shock for me. But yes, I've delivered many topical maps until yet, and I'm now improving my processes, making cutting short the time, but getting more quality. And to be honest, not using any tool. Okay. So this is what I think. But one more perspective I would add, or one more point which people forget, like they say that if they cover a topic, like the more coverage a website has on a particular topic, which means it's a more authoritative site on that particular topic. For example, if a topic is washing machine, and one a website has like 500 pages but the other has like 300, people tend to say that 500 website is more qualitative for Google. So I they are forgetting the factor that 500 pages, how many traffic the 500 pages are getting, the historical data. So topical authority is basically always multiplied with the topical coverage with your historical data. And historical data is basically required to justify the quality of the topical coverage you have done. Historical data could be like clicks, mouse over impressions, CTR, scroll percentage, anything. Or even if you're ranking on 50th position on Google, that's also can be a historical data. So I mean, not adding more pages to your website is always a good thing, but in less pages you give, yep, you provide more information. So that's, I guess, the main factor people miss, and that should be they need to consider that.
Yeah, but at the bottom, like I still think that you should optimize the bottom of your funnel first, somewhere where you can drive the end user. If for example, if you've got the product side, it's easy. If you've got the service website, it's also easy. But if you've got some kind of informational website, it's
Hmm.
might seem to be not so easy to understand where is the bottom of your funnel, because you actually, if you are monetizing with ads, for example, you just want as much traffic as it's possible. But even
Hmm.
in under
Based on
those
objective
circumstances,
change.
yeah, yeah. But
Hmm.
even under those circumstances, you need to think about your end user, who they are, what their goals are, and how you can help them achieve their goals. And that final achievement of their goals are those bottom funnel pages that you need to optimize first, and then you build all the other topic pages on top of that. So,
Hmm.
but I do not do that in reverse. I do not start with generic content, what is
Hmm.
something, and then go to the funnel, because you are well, Google will define your website based on the content they first see there, and they will
Hmm.
place you on in a certain cluster, in the certain category, and in the certain topic index. And they will only show you for that topic index and only for this category, for
Hmm.
the related queries. And it will take you lots of time to get moved to other topic indices if you need, and be recategorized. So I'd always start from the bottom funnel when you create a website or
Hmm.
whatever we have in the future, or repository of information. Start with the bottom of the funnel and build on top of that.
Hmm. I think this is what I've basically discussed. Exactly, you always start with bottom of the funnel. I mean, it's a very good point you actually covered. Then from bottom you build layers, you go with awareness stage content. So that's kind of, you can say, some SaaS stuff as well, but now it could apply to every niche. Like for one website SaaS I was working with, I baited by the way MailChimp on a keyword like email marketing for small business. And within just 2 to 3 months, and the content we created took us like 20 days. And by the way, in SaaS, basically the product knowledge or the bottom of the things really are essential. But now on every niche, you first think from your business perspective first. And also, I mean, Google also sees at this thing as well. For example, if you're getting a lot of traffic, but even Google knows that what is the user satisfaction model in that specific knowledge base. For example, for some niches like currency exchange rate, for example, or some, if someone checking weather, I mean, they will not stick to a page, and they just within a couple of seconds they will leave the page. And for some sites, for example, there's a longer time user spend. Google knows.
I think I have lost you, Muhammad.
Is okay. So yeah, I mean, Google also knows that whether this website is just getting traffic or monetizing that traffic as well, and having a brand presence, like coming from the EE80 factors as well, like having a good about us page, contact us page, and explicitly mention how you make money. This gonna help Google understand that this is a proper brand who's serving content, not a very typical content creator site probably using AI. So Google always like give you more benefit while trusting. So yeah, this is my take on this.
Yeah, nice. I think I heard maybe
Okay.
something with my connection and yours, because I've lost you for some time, but I've heard the rest of what you were talking about. And yeah, they're good.
Okay, I don't know which net is creating issue, but okay, fine. Okay, I think one more important question. I think I have covered this question in my many videos as well, but now I'm getting your perspective or opinion on this. First of all, what you have observed so far, what mistakes people making when they're like starting an SEO campaign or SEO strategy. For example, they're creating an SEO strategy uh, from end to end, from start to finish. What top mistakes you have seen people making?
What, the last sentence? What they are looking for about
What
what?
mistakes basically? This they What mistakes they commonly make, and I mean how someone can overcome with that mistake.
They want, from what I'm seeing, they are not placing the right KPIs in place.
Hmm.
So I'll not repeat myself on the business goals. I hope everyone got that fine. But for example, you've got these goals, and you've got these topical maps and all these kind of things. What is your return on investment? And what resources you need to create everything and how you are going to do that. And sometimes the money doesn't match your resources doesn't match the income that you are going to get out of that. Is it worth your investment or not? And how are you going to measure your success? Does it mean that if you've got, like, many people show these, search console graphs where they've got like
Right.
this huge of traffic, but
Mm.
how does this traffic convert? How much actual
Yeah.
money have you got
They do
from
not
it?
show that.
Yeah, what's that? Maybe you're ranking with one page about what is SEO or something like that that never converts, doesn't bring you anything, and like if some algorithm change happens and this money and this page is dropped out of Google for some reason, because sometimes there is a
Mhm.
bug in Google. It's not that you've done
Mm.
something wrong, but Google itself is
Mm.
hugely buggy, and
Yeah,
we need
yeah, a lot
to
of
consider.
bugs. Mhm.
Yeah, so if this page goes out of index for some reason, even if you've done everything correctly, what will you do?
Mm.
And these failure to, I'd say failure because it's a failure, to
Yeah.
manage KPIs and to really understand what your goals are and how you are going to measure them. I think that's the hugest mistake people make. So sometimes people devote lots of time and lots of resources for the pages that actually don't bring any value neither to them nor to their
Mm.
users, and they
Mm.
start digging into those, for example, there was a hype at some point about core web vitals, maybe you remember, and people
Mm.
invested so many
Mm.
resources into that. They've there were like very crazy things that they were doing by optimizing the speed, for example, or something like that, and it
Mm.
never paid off to them. They've invested huge resources into that and never seen any change from that. So if you are going to devote your resources to something, at least try to experiment on a small set, hopefully,
Mm.
and see if it is valuable for your niche and for your website, because all niches are different and websites are different as well. And maybe you catch a bug and you are never ranking with this website and you need another one and something like that. So
Yeah.
the KPIs and return on investment. uh, So, they should be put first before you do anything. What you get out of what you do, and why are you going to do that? When you asking yourself about everything that you do, why am I doing that? What will I get from that? Like, you'll find that you'll be not doing half of the things you are doing at the moment.
Mhm. Amazing. Yeah, I think you are basically saying that KPIs, business perspectives, the objective you're gonna achieve, or the goals you're gonna achieve in the coming 6 months, 3 months. I mean, first you put them, or not just 6 months, maybe next 5 years probably. You start writing content, keeping them in mind, and then I mean, for me, I mean, writing content and the training of the writer is very necessary at this point because the SUs know and they just I mean they do select the right topic and they basically devise a strategy. But even the writer is not I mean aware of the objective. They just follow the SERP and they just write content. How are they gonna maybe make the content specific to or connecting the problem of the user with their product or their solution? So this is I would say this is the main you can say a barrier or you can say some miscommunication between the SEO and writing team, or even the sales and marketing team. I mean, they needs to sit on the same table and discuss on a maybe weekly meetings that hey, this is the main problem we are getting, and we're coming to know from our customers that these are the problems. So try to address them that we have solution for this problem in a tool, or maybe sometimes you do not I mean discuss those things that your tool, for example, or your business do not offer. You mainly prioritize things what you offer or what is your main USP, for example. So I think aligning the whole marketing team or whole business, I mean, whole sales and marketing team together is very important when it comes to achieving some kind of objective in terms of business. uh, I think I've seen people now shifting their mindsets, and now a lot of tools as well. There, I mean, not everything based on should be based on tools. This is a very subjective or dynamic thing that changes, and lot of. I mean, I've seen, by the way, platform someone. I didn't, if I remember the name, I don't know. Basically, what she did. I mean, based on tools or softwares, clients calls or the chats that done with the sales team, they got all the data and they created a database. And then from that database, is someone writing content, that database is suggesting, hey, this is, you want to promote this specific feature here. Okay, so this is the problem that you just mentioned, and now this is the, okay, so connecting the problem with the solution at the right place at the right time with the right words, or even anything you can name it. So I think I've, I've seen people shifting towards this strategy, and it's a good to see. By the way.
Yeah. And also sometimes what if you think about that, say, for example, your web page is number one and your competitor's page is number two in search,
Mm,
but
mm,
you've got like one conversion from your top one ranking page and your competitor is getting 20 conversion from the top two page. Who's better SEO at that point? So the one who's getting more conversions and ranking number two, or the one who's getting almost no conversions but ranking number one. So I think
mm.
it's something to think
Yeah,
about as well.
that's the main question. I mean, who's getting the more business? And definitely, ranking is not the main thing. Uh, so again, very good take, by the way. Okay, so on a finishing note, I would like to ask, maybe for the audience, or maybe, yeah, for the people who are just watching it, and what are the like tips, or you can say any advice people who are like doing SEO, like as you mentioned, KPI is very important thing, and like I mentioned, some connecting with your sales team, marketing team, and sales team alignment is very important. Any other strategies, or you can say tips or advice you want new people to learn about or know about?
Yeah, I at this point I so rarely now look at my competitors and what they do.
Mm,
And
mhm,
in part is that because I know my audience better and what they want and what they need, and I'm building my content on my audience's needs and wishes and pain points. So I don't look into competitors that much. And secondly,
mm,
I know that I'm hiding part of content from my competitors, and I'm only providing it to Googlebot. So they
mhm,
never know. So, all these tools which help you analyze the content of the web pages, like they analyze my visible content which the users see, but they cannot analyze the content I'm giving to Googlebot in no way. And so I'm not doing that with my competitors either, because I don't think they are stupid or something and that they are giving all their content to me as well. I think that they
mm,
might be hiding something too. So there's actually very little use right now, especially in competitive niches, to just look at the content and try to create something similar. But I don't think this strategy works anymore. So
mm,
I'm building based on my audience, and I always try to hide anything that may help my competitors to or outrank me or to do better than me. So I hope they don't find it. So
amazing.
I will, and also I don't right now after these um, chatbots and everything emergence, I almost don't create generic content anymore. I only create content which is tightly integrated with my product, solution, or website, or my brand, or whatever else,
Mm,
so that even if it's got stolen, my competitors won't be able to use it because it's closely related to my
mm,
brand and my company. And chatbots will use it, but they will know about my company. And when a person in a ChatGPT asks which product would you recommend for that, ChatGPT responds this one, and it will be mine.
nice.
So that's what I do.
Okay. Cool, cool. Okay, so the last question, but very important as well. I mean, how to learn SEO? Like which experts, resources, websites to follow? You can maybe break it down based on your experience into specific disciplines like semantic SEO, like PR, like AI SEO, like content strategy, whatever you think, and what do you suggest the resources and experts?
I think that people should definitely subscribe to you if they have not already. I've heard that Koray will be releasing the
Thank you.
course again. I've never taken the course, by the way, because I just don't have time to watch the courses. But I've heard from other people that they who purchased it that they liked it a lot and it helped them on their journey. I don't know. I cannot recommend it. I've never watched it, but maybe it's a good thing to consider. And of course, all the group around Cry, they are very helpful people. I've met lots of them and they are all wonderful. And
Hmm.
Ben and Pavel, I think, and all, like many other people. And this guy, would you mind I look up his name? It just fell out of my
Sure. Uh-huh.
memory, but
Give
I
me a
like.
hint what he specialized in. I will maybe help you to remember the name.
Yeah, sorry. I do remember the name. It just fell out of my memory for a short period of time. Suresh. Yeah, Suresh Kumar.
Suresh
Uh,
Kumar Ji. Okay.
yeah, yeah. He's
Uh,
also a very
it's
nice
nice
guy.
to
He
know.
shares a lot. Yeah, like I don't know, whoever you like. I also find it very valuable to follow people who have close connections to Google, such as Glenn Gabe, Barry Schwartz, Lily Ray. I know they participate in some
Hmm.
closed Google calls, and they might have sometimes first-hand
Hmm.
information of various sorts. And Lily Ray shares wonderful comparisons, winners, losers, and all this kind of stuff. I find it hugely valuable for myself as well. I adore Amon Jones and whatever he shares. I've learned a lot from him as well. And of course, Pilslavsky, though he's not with us anymore, but information on his
Yeah,
website is
the
still
legend.
available. Yes, thanks to other people. So I don't know. I always am afraid to start naming anyone because I always forget to name
Hmm.
other people, which are also good and valuable, and I like what they do. And of course, everyone should follow Koray. They
And
must.
you as well.
I don't think I share that much at the moment because I'm really working a lot. But maybe I'll start doing that again.
You are
But yeah,
like
I'll be happy.
uh,
I'll be
in the
happy to
industry
connect
since,
with anyone.
yeah,
Huh?
you're in the industry. It's like 12 years, and I think you worked with a lot of clients. So I think it's good to maybe create some YouTube channel yourself and creating stuff, or maybe some websites, writing blogs. So it's a good strategy to maybe share your knowledge as well.
Yeah. I also adore Aleida Solis. I always follow her. And Don Anderson. Don Anderson has this academic understanding, the right understanding, of Google patents and how information retrieval works. And
Hmm.
yeah, I do advise you to follow them as well.
Amazing, amazing. All right, Alicia, it was a very nice conversation. Personally, I enjoyed and loved it. And uh, apart from the insights we discussed and so you can say the knowledge we have shared, I found it very, you can say, relatable with my journey and experience as well, and the thoughts I possess. Uh, and again, the practical approach, probably we haven't seen each other's approach and we know each other for some time, but we can maybe hope to some another podcast or maybe deep dive into some LLMs or the Python scripts you have created. I mean, the audience is like you can say bored because everyone is telling the basics. Even if you hop to YouTube, go to some top ranked blogs, you probably know the names. They're just talking about basics like, hey, follow this simple checklist and you will rank. And what they are doing for their blog to rank, they do not disclose. So this is the real gap we have to fulfill, and we need to serve as a mediator or industry leaders. I mean, people who are just starting need to give them very relevant and accurate information that really works, not just the concepts that will waste their times. But yes, concepts are important to have, but the practical methodology is basically my main goal for this channel as well. You will maybe see the videos, upcoming video. They're gonna be like 3 hours, 4 hours long, or even 6 hours long, and they will be diving or I'll be like opening up my sheets and explaining things what I think from my mind, and that's what I guess audience love, and they do not, I mean, want to read that simple stuff again and again. And so this is what I want my identity needs to look like. And once again, I really thank you to getting some time for this conversation, for this chit chat, and audience gonna love it, and you can maybe see on socials they're gonna discuss about it. And yes, guys,
Yeah.
if you have any questions, uh, it's always good to ask. Probably maybe for the next time we're gonna maybe come live and ask and answer the question at the same time. So it totally depends on your response.
Want to thank you so much for having me, and I want to thank everyone for listening to that. And I want to thank you, Muhammad, for sharing your knowledge and explaining to me what this micro context and macro context mean. I finally know that, that's awesome. And I think that it's very cool that we can, living in so many different countries, we can find each other, like-minded people in different corners of the world, and talk to each other and connect. That's super valuable for me. And everyone who's watching this, let's connect. Say hi. Thank you so much.
Amazing, amazing. So uh, once again, it was a good thing to have and good conversation, and we'd love to jump on other uh, next parts as well. And thanks for sharing your insights, and have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.